Hello, I'm Mario Toneguzzi with Fitness Spotlight. Joining me today is Sandra Bueckert-Davison, who is owner of One on One in Calgary. Thanks, Sandra, for joining us today.
Good morning, Mario.
Okay, we're going to talk about the Body Renovation Journey, which is this body's renovation journey.
That's right.
Which just started about a month ago with you folks.
Yes.
I want to talk a little bit about some of the things I've noticed in myself in this journey, and maybe you can explain why it's happening. The very first thing is, if you recall, I was mentioning to you that I was going to talk a little bit about mood and my mood, right? And
Yes.
you were curious to see what that was about, and I kind of laughed and said, besides being miserable and cranky, not anymore. But beyond that, I just feel more upbeat, more vibrant.
Yes.
Initially, tell me why that's happening.
Mario, the human brain is an amazing thing. And the neurotransmitters, dopamine and norepinephrine, they get elevated when you exercise. And so that elevation of those neurotransmitters leads to you feeling more energized, more focused. It lifts your mood. You can plan, coordinate, and get much more done. So that's what you're feeling, is that neurotransmitter release as a result of you exercising.
And is it kind of like a domino, like a snowball effect that, okay,
Yes.
so you're exercising, your mood improves. Because your mood improves, you're more susceptible, not susceptible, but more willing and to exercise. So it's like that.
Absolutely, because those neurotransmitters have lifted, you can focus more and concentrate and achieve more. And so you are absolutely right that one begets the other, because as you start on that road, you're realizing that there's so much more that you are capable of. Whereas when you don't exercise and you're not getting that stimulation, you're almost blunted as far as the way that you think. You
Yeah.
get used to sort of operating in a bit of a fog. And when you exercise, you clear away some of that fog. And in fact, even your memory improves as a result of you exercising. So it is a domino effect.
Okay. The other thing that I've noticed, and part of
Mhm.
this whole program is dealing with one of your people there, Luke, talking about nutrition,
Yes.
the importance of protein. Talk to me a little bit about, at first I was kind of like, ooh, you know what? Luke
Just like
wanted
that.
me,
Woo!
Luke wanted me to up my protein,
Yeah.
right? And so I kind of leery at first, and up my calories actually, and leery at first. But tell me the reasons behind that.
Yes. Because Mario, every cell in your body building muscle, the repair for that comes from those proteins. So, for example, when you consume eggs or chicken, forms of protein, your body breaks them down into amino acids, which it uses to repair. The other aspect of consuming protein is it anchors each meal so that you stay fuller longer. And the longer we keep you in control of what you eat, the better your blood sugar stays elevated and you make better choices. If I may, one of the common things we see in the studio, clients will have their lunch, but they go so long without eating their next meal, they crash or they get logy and sluggish at their desk in the mid afternoon.
Mm.
And so sometimes we have to go back and revisit how much protein did they get at their lunch. And then we also may have to look at snacking in the afternoon to help them keep their energy up so they don't get home and shove the refrigerator into their mouths because they're too hungry.
And you know what? Like for people like me who work, from home, like strictly from home, it's very easy, and it has been easy over the past 8 years, just you know what? There's the kitchen, like right over there. Let
Yes.
me just go in and I'm getting a glass of water. Oh, look what's on the island there. Let me just eat, right? But I've noticed that protein kick right now. I don't do that as often anymore.
That that's fantastic. Isn't it interesting with you saying how you're working from home? I find we use food for things that we don't realize. You know, I have kids, and when my kids were little, Mario, they always held on to their little blanket like a security thing, right?
Yeah,
Sometimes we grown-ups use food like a security blanket. We use food because we're bored. We cuddle onto food because we're mad. We hang on to food because we're happy. We hang on to food because we're irritated. We use food
yeah,
as a means of medicating the feelings that we're feeling. And you're open now, so you're starting to dissect or take apart what the hell you were using food for in the first place.
yeah,
A lot of times, it's not even because you're hungry. It's because you're looking for something to do with your hands, or you're working through a problem and you get up and you go to the fridge and it's easy to do.
yeah, yeah,
So you're starting to clue in on the am I hungry, or what am I really doing right now
yeah.
with this food?
Yeah, and you're right. Not having that protein has kind of put down that appetite for snacking. Yeah, that's the whole point, I guess, of it, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
So it's important, yeah, that you're putting it throughout the day so your body has those key building blocks to build from. I often joke with clients, that a great body starts in your fridge.
ha, true. And in your head, right? Uh, you know, Now, speaking of body, like we're a culture that's these days you are fixated on weight, right? And
Mm.
how much do I weigh, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, so I'm not going to go into personal numbers, but okay, I've lost I think about 2 pounds on this just by doing the program and by working out and making sure I eat more, which is kind of seems counterintuitive.
Exactly.
Okay, can you
Yes.
talk a little bit about that? Like, what typically happens with people that like myself and your clients from the past and current clients when it comes to weight and when they're going through this journey?
Okay. The first thing I want to say is that 2 pounds is a lot. So think of a brick of butter. A brick of butter is a pound.
Right.
You've lost, put, put 2 bricks of butter into a bowl and take a look at how much fat that is.
Mm,
You, Mario, have removed 2 bricks of butter from your body.
I got a lot
Okay.
of bricks to go
Next.
though.
There you go. As you start learning more and applying the knowledge that you have, you will find the process becomes easier, more that you're more able to apply what you're learning. So I'm not fixated on calories or on weight as much as I am on your body composition.
Mm,
You might come to discover that as you work out, you start building muscle. And although you haven't lost a whole hell of a lot of weight, that your belt loop will go down 3 or 4 notches.
mm,
So the journey is shifting how much muscle or how much fat is on your frame and shrinking your girth. So rather than focusing on the number on the scale,
yeah.
focusing on how lean you are or how trim you are, because that is a true indication of fitness. In fact, there's 5 components of fitness, and it's not weight. One of them is body composition.
Mm, yeah. Yeah, that's true. So when we're talking about weight, can you one of the things obviously and you're well well versed in all this because you've been a bodybuilder. Can you talk a little bit about muscle and the importance of building muscle and what that means in terms of burning, I guess, burning your fat and
Absolutely. Muscle is a very active tissue and it burns calories even when you're at rest. So, this is interesting, Mario, because people want to crash diet and drop tons of weight overnight. But when you crash diet, you also sacrifice that beautiful muscle that you have. And so, in essence, you slow your metabolism down by
mm,
crashing and dropping a lot of weight too fast. Slow and steady is the way that you want to do it. Remember the story of the hare and the tortoise?
yep,
Right, the turtle and the hare.
that,
Well, you want to take it off slow and steady so that you keep that muscle and you keep burning those calories as you slim down. And that will serve you long term as opposed to crashing, burning, dropping the weight, and then putting the weight back on quicker.
yeah, that's true. Yeah. Can you talk a little bit, Sandra, about motivation and sometimes when you're doing something that may be initially hard,
Yes.
how do you motivate yourself to keep yourself going and not just saying, ah, screw this, I don't want to do this anymore.
Oh, Lord, this you've asked a pretty significant question here. Um, there's so many ways that I can approach it. So let's see if I can do my best with this. So probably Mario, in about 2005, I lost 70 pounds.
Wow.
And for the longest time, the story I was selling or telling myself was that at the time I was a new mom. So all of my time went to my family and I didn't have the time to dedicate to myself.
Hmm.
So often on this journey that we call fitness, it all comes down to where that person is at in their lives and the story they've been telling themselves.
Mm.
Okay. Part of taking off the weight for me, now this is going to sound really petty, so I'm a petty person, was that at the time a client walked by one of my pictures in the studio and she said, Sandra, it's hard to believe you ever looked like that. Mario, that cut to the quick.
Yeah.
It hurt my pride.
Uh,
And that sort of reality slap was the beginning for me to start checking my portions and getting back to myself again. Motivation comes from various sources. It can come from the people we hang with. It can come from the stories we're telling ourselves.
yeah.
It can come from the hope or the lack of hope or inspiration that we have for ourselves.
Hmm.
It is a personal journey. It is kicking yourself in the butt and saying, I know you can do this.
Hmm.
I know you're able to do this. And although it can seem difficult when you first get going, as you start getting your groove or hitting your stride, it becomes second nature. But it does take a little bit of time for the meal planning, looking at your portions, dragging your butt out the door and going to exercise. It takes a while for those elements to start to show.
Yeah.
And then as your friends or family start looking at you and going, man, you're looking good.
Mm.
They will start to see things that you're not. And as you start to see it, you might go, this fitness thing really is working.
Yeah. So, okay, one last question I have for you. When you talked about all that stuff, we're talking about habits, right? And routines. And you know, how important is that to have, the habit of, okay, I'm doing this, this, and this. on these days, or I'm doing, this with my food, right? But to habitually do something, becomes a routine, right? Doesn't it? The more you do it.
You are absolutely right. Make an appointment with yourself.
Yeah.
Okay. It's funny because I'm a fitness trainer, but I often say to my clients, Mario, that your investment is you. The asset is you. Everything you do and achieve in your career emanates from you and your health. And so making you a priority is key. That meaning if it's first thing in the morning, if it's at lunch, if it's after dinner or before dinner,
Yeah.
find a way to put yourself in your day and stick to it.
Okay. Wonderful. Well, thank you, Sandra, for joining us today. And we're going to do this from time to time on this body renovation journey. And I'm going to get your insights of what the heck's happening to me. All right.
Thanks, Mario.
All right. Super. That was Sandra Bueckert-Davison, who is owner of One-on-One in Calgary. I'm Mario Toneguzzi with Fitness Spotlight. Thanks for joining us today.